Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. This video is going to be about whether or not a narcissist is aware of their behaviour, whether or not they're aware that they hurt you and continue to hurt you. And with many experts on the subject, with people who have lived through it, with therapists, there is various opinions out there, and none of these opinions are wrong and none of these opinions are right. As you will have those who are adamant that the narcissist knows exactly what they are doing, and you will have those that are adamant that a narcissist doesn't know what they're doing. When it comes down to it, it comes down to the individual narcissist. Some will know exactly what they're doing. Some, it is calculated manipulation. Others will not know what they're doing. It's just instinct, just that pattern of behaviour. You can have those self-aware narcissists that say how they used to think and how they think now. So we can form an opinion based on the information that we receive from those around us. We can form an opinion based on the life that we've lived with narcissistic people. And whatever opinion you form, it needs to be an opinion that helps you move away from somebody that continues to hurt you and move on to a life where you can find your happiness, where you can achieve the things that you are capable of, where you can live out your personal dreams, where you can reach your true potential. So this video is going to be about whether or not a narcissist is aware. Thank you very much to all the returning subscribers and your continued support with the channel. If you are new to the channel, I'm Elizabeth Shaw. This channel is all about the narcissist personality disorder, to give you more understanding of the people you might be dealing with in your life, how to handle yourself around those people if you cannot go no contact, and different methods to find what works for you to help you overcome narcissistic abuse. If you do find the information helpful on the channel, please do subscribe. So when it comes to a narcissist, whatever story they tell is their story. It's their reality. It's their identity. And they can be very convincing in gaslighting others to not see the truth or the entirety of the situation the other person is in around a narcissist, which shows in one sense they are aware because they understand that if people recognise certain behaviours, if people realise that narcissist has done something to them, there might be consequences to the narcissist's actions which they are trying to avoid. However, not all of them are aware they're doing this. It's like when you get into a car and you drive and you arrive at your destination and you think, how on earth did I drive here without crashing? And partly your subconscious has taken over. If it's a route that you do on a daily basis, your subconscious has kind of taken over and directed you where you need to go, which is what happens to a narcissist sometimes. Their subconscious takes over in order to protect themselves. Now, with many narcissists, it can be just instinctive, just a pattern of behaviour learned from early childhood that is their identity. It's who they are. They believe that they're above others. They believe that they are allowed to just exploit others. They feel entitled to get their needs met and go through many instinctive patterns of behaviour to manipulate others, to exploit others, to get their needs met. They lack the empathy to care for how that behaviour affects those around them. They are arrogant. They are unpleasantly proud of who they are as a person. However, it's instinctive. They believe they are better than others. They believe they're entitled to do as they please. Therefore, they behave in a certain way to meet their own needs. Only when they fear someone else's perception of them might be in a bad light, or something they want might be taken away from them, do they then gaslight people to escape taking responsibility for their behaviour, to avoid being held accountable, to avoid receiving consequences. And again, this can be instinct, behavioural patterns, knowing what's worked for them in the past to get away with something, knowing what's worked for them in the past to provoke sympathetic attention from somebody, knowing what's worked for them in the past to guilt trip somebody into doing what they want to do. But as they've been doing it over a long period of time, it's who they are. And with others, it's intentional. They plan to deceive people. They plan to hurt people. They plan to get revenge on people. When it comes to a narcissist, when they've suffered some form of narcissistic injury based on the beliefs of who they are as a person, when somebody goes against them, when someone criticizes their ego, when someone might expose them, when someone might abandon them, either instinctively or intentionally, they seek to get that person back. If it's instinctively, you can't do anything to help them. It's who they are. If it's intentionally, you cannot do anything to help them. It's who they are. They have to be willing and able to recognize this within themselves, to take ownership of their behavior, to work hard on their own thought process, to change themselves. It's just like when they move on with somebody new, the new person, they only change for the new person, to manipulate the new person, to get their own needs met. They don't have a personality transplant just because they've met somebody new. It's who they are. And whether it's their subconscious, whether it's their subconscious, so they're not fully aware of how they are behaving. They're not fully aware of their patterns of behaviour. Their subconscious is influencing their actions, their behaviour. Their subconscious is, in one sense, their instincts. So when they feel like somebody isn't giving them what they want, when they don't feel like their needs are being met, their sense of entitlement isn't being met, their subconscious instinctively makes them behave or act in a certain way to get their needs met. It's only for that moment when they get called out on that behaviour. Most don't feel guilt. They might feel that moment of shame, which is why they quickly find a scapegoat to blame so that they can get away with it. Or whether with the narcissist, they are conscious, they are fully aware of their behaviour. They feel like someone has gone against them by simply not agreeing to them. Therefore, they consciously, intentionally seek to punish that person. And with many narcissists, it can be a bit of both. With some, it's just that belief of who they are and how life works for them. They believe that everybody else is against them. Therefore, they believe they're protecting themselves. It's almost a cry for help, but it's a cry for help where you cannot help them because they are unable or unwilling to recognise their own behaviour as being a problem. Some narcissists might be able to recognise their own behaviour. However, they're going to blame somebody else for it. It's the whole, if you hadn't, I wouldn't. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. But if I did, you made me do it. And if you didn't make me do it, it wasn't my fault. And if it was my fault, then you made me do it. Whatever it is, when it comes to a narcissist, they are not going to be readily willing to take ownership of their own behaviour. They might temporarily take ownership, usually to further their manipulation, to get their needs met. We cannot help anybody else change. We can speak to people in many different ways, but people have to have their own wake-up call. People have to have their own sense of urgency, of drive, of determination in order to change something in their life. People have to have enough leverage to realise that the pain they are in is far worse than the pain of changing something for themselves for the better. When it comes to narcissistic people and narcissistic people being aware of the behaviour, it depends on the narcissist that you are dealing with. However, whether they are aware or not, they lack the empathy to care for how their behaviour affects you. They only care about how exposure, how other people's opinions, how other people's perceptions would affect themselves. They only care about how, if they're not getting the attention they believe they're entitled to, how the pain that they would feel. Therefore, they go out to seek the attention they believe they deserve. And if they cannot gain that positive attention from people, if they cannot offer excessive flattery, excessive gifts to make people appreciate them, to influence people into appreciating them, then they will go all out to gain sympathetic attention from people, to play the victim, to cry wolf, to get everybody on their side, to get everyone supporting them, to get everyone making them feel better. And if that doesn't work, they will go all out to get people to react to them so that they can gain the attention by getting the reactions. They feel that they're important because they've provoked that reaction within you, when what they don't realise is that they're making people defensive. It's not because people particularly care about the narcissist, it's because people care about what the narcissist is trying to do to them or saying to them, so they are defending themselves. But to a narcissist, that is attention. And if they can gain that reaction from somebody, they can then blame that person, which makes the narcissist themselves feel better. The best way to handle these people is lose the hope that it could be different. Lose the hope that you can be the one to help them see the light. It's not going to happen. They have to be able to see the light for themselves, and then they're still going to have to work on their disorder. So they're still going to have to work on their thought process, fight against their instincts, fight against their intentions on a daily basis. Now, there are those where you can manage your emotions in your time around. However, there are those when you manage your emotions around them, they're going to up their games to gain that reaction from you, in which case you need to go no contact. No contact isn't always possible, therefore it needs to be limited contact and grow up. I shall add into the description the video on the reasons why narcissistic people do hurt other people. Thank you very much for listening. Go out there and create the day that you deserve, because you do deserve to have an amazing day. Bye.